Lori, go ahead. Okay. Calling to order the Merrimack School District SAU 26 School Board meeting for August 23rd, 2022. Could everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I just want to make note that Lori Peters and Ken Martin are excused, and our Superintendent Bill Wilson will be calling in for this meeting, and Jenna Hardy will be conducting the meeting this evening.
All right, we are going to start with public participation. And I don't want to end that too soon, but I don't see anyone from the public here. So seeing no one, we will close public comment and move on to recognitions. Although I don't see any recognitions on the agenda either. So can I move past recognitions? Okay. Moving past recognitions, we are going to informational updates. First up is the superintendent update. Will Bill be doing that still tonight?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, now we can. Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. First of all, if I could back up to recognitions. First, I want to apologize to you and the public, our staff and parents for not being able to be there tonight and not being on camera. I had some surgery to my face a couple of weeks ago, still bandaged, and probably not in the best interest of anyone to have me on camera right now. In terms of recognition, I heard from Nikki Rowe, the principal of JMU's, and Jack Pepke, and I hope I'm pronouncing Jack's name correctly, who was a fifth grade student, qualified to compete in the regional 2022 Major League Baseball Red Sox pitch, hit, and run team championship, which was held at Fenway Park on August 13th. Now, not only did Jack have an amazing experience playing on the Fenway field, but he won his age group for 9 to 10-year-olds. And later in the evening, all winners were announced by the Red Sox, and he qualifies. If his score from Fenway qualifies him as one of the top 4 in his age group, he will be headed to the World Series in October. So we wish Jack the best of luck, and what we'll do is we'll have him, once school begins, we'll have him come in to accept a certificate of accomplishment at a school board meeting. So we look forward to doing that. I want to welcome all of our families and our students and our staff back. School starts on the 31st. Once again, on the 31st, students in grades K, 3, 5, and 9, okay, will come in at the normal time. I believe I forgot grade 7 also. Will come in at the normal time. All other students will come in on a 2-hour delay that day. That gives students transitioning either for their first time into a school or transitioning to a new school about 2 hours to become acclimated, for the staff to work with them, to meet with them, for them to become a little bit more comfortable. So that's the first time we will be trying it, and I'll let you know how that works out. We expect it to work out very well. We had a wonderful and productive leadership retreat a little over 2 weeks ago. Dr. John Dioria, who I've known for many, many years, came to speak with us on culture. In addition, we had a book study that on reculturing an organization by author by the name of Jamie Daimler. And so that went well. We are focusing on one of your goals, one of your most important goals for the upcoming year or 2 or 3, and that is culture. We are looking to reculture the organization, make it positive, progressive, respectful, caring, collaborative, and we are going to accomplish that. We want everyone to be a contributor in the school system because we believe everyone can and will be a contributor. So that was a great leadership retreat. As I said, we had a full day training. I referenced that in non-public session to you just as a comment. Today we had about a 7-hour training by special education attorneys on special education laws, procedures, timelines, record keeping, paperwork, progress reports, 504 accommodations, a little bit of everything. And we're going to continue with the training throughout the year because I want to make sure we're serving our students well in terms of following all of the procedures, the statutory procedures that we're required to follow when it comes to providing either 504 accommodations to students, which is a general education accommodation, or special education services to those students who have been identified as requiring services through an individual educational plan, an IEP. So it was a great day that we spent and a very productive day. And that is all I have for you in update from myself.
All right. Thank you very much, Bill. And I just personally want to thank you for all the work you're doing. And I love hearing about how you're working and focused on those goals. Really excited about the work that you and all of the leaders in our district are doing. So thank you for that. Any other comments for Bill? All right. Seeing none, we're going to move on to Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Update.
Good evening, everyone. Just to sort of follow up with some of the things that Bill was talking about, the excitement is certainly building for the beginning of the school year. There's nothing quite like the anticipation and the hopefulness that a new school year brings. So I hope all of you are getting ready for the new year. And I know that we're excited at the SAU as well as across the district. I continue to become settled in my new position here. Lene and Sandy at the central office have been great support to me. And Matt and Melissa and Bill have certainly been great partners. So I continue to appreciate their support as I come on board and get acclimated here. Curriculum work since the last time we've met has continued. Our social studies department and team that is working on putting the curriculum into EduPlanet has met a few more times. The language arts team met for 4 days. They had a summit of sorts, one of which was a pretty deep data dive into our New Hampshire SAS results that I'll talk a little bit more on a higher level, but they were really looking at classrooms of students, individual students, buildings. So they're really looking deeply into the data to see where our gaps might be and what would be some good next steps to be able to address them. And then our math team met 3 days, and then we're meeting on Friday to do a similar dive into our math data. And so we've got K-12 representation on those groups. So it's a cohesive group that is really looking at how can we improve our curriculum here in Merrimack. In a few minutes, I'll give an overview of the data, but I just want to say that if you have questions following, I know that you've had a chance to look over the presentations, but if you have other questions or other information that you might want or need, please just let me know.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, we will move along to the Assistant Superintendent for Business Update.
Thank you very much. I have a lot more to say under the summer projects section, but I just want to make an announcement. Because of our increased utilization of Power School, especially at the K through 4 level, with the report cards going to be in Power School with their increased use of Canvas and everything like that, we've acquired the services of Adam Goodman, who used to be the grades 5 through 8 technology coordinator, who is now going to take on K through 4 in addition. So that's going to be an added resource for them as they move towards automation, log entries, behavioral issues, being in the computer, and utilizing Power School more fully and in a more robust fashion. So we kind of welcome him aboard and thank him for taking the chance on us. And he'll be busy, but he's going to enjoy himself. I know that because Adam's a good guy. Thank you.
Any comments? I just want to say that's super exciting because anybody that knows Adam and the work that he does knows that he's
Absolutely.
fantastic. So I love that we problem solved that to give an opportunity to somebody within our district that we already know is incredible.
Yes.
So good job.
Well, thank you.
Okay. School board update.
So the school board is still looking for a date to meet with the budget committee, which is going to happen late in September, to talk about our most crucial needs this year, and priority being school safety. We're also going to be moving our September meeting. Right now, it's going to be a TBA because we're making sure that we have a quorum of school board members. The school board would like to thank our administrators for their focused work this summer. Everything that we asked for them to do, including the special ed training for 7 hours, got done. And we really appreciate that you took the time to build your leadership teams and do such critical work this summer. The school board also like to welcome our teachers and staff back to school. We're truly grateful for our administrative team, our teachers, paras, and all staff members who work in the district. We use the word together. It's one by one, and only together can we get things done. As we start to open school, it's important for all of us to do some self-care. There's a lot of anxiety and stress and sleepless nights on Sundays as we're opening school, but we are hopeful for another successful year. The knowledge, energy, and enthusiasm of our teacher and staffs make all the difference. The board is excited to be a part of the district team and focus on results. Our goal is to look for continuous improvement and create a safe, respectful environment for all. And as Walt Disney said, as we go into the school year, think, dream, believe, and dare.
Well said. Any other comments? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to our student representative update, which also our student representative, I think, takes summers off, which is why she's not here. So no student representative update as of right now. So that puts us at old business, student enrollment update.
Yes, I'm pleased to be able to say that our enrollments are looking excellent at the elementary level. I expected those to be in the packet. I'm not sure if you have those in your packet. I don't seem to have them in mine.
I don't
And
see
I
them in ours either.
apologize if they are not. But our enrollments at the primary level, the K to 4 level, 5 and 6, are very, very good. In fact, a little better this year than last year, particularly at grade 5 and 6. And so, during the summer, you have generally given the superintendent authority to hire staff if needed. We have not needed to do that this summer. And so I think our class sizes are excellent. As you know, a lot of research has shown that the achievement levels of students are very much dependent on the quality of the teacher, first and foremost, but also reasonable class size. So the teacher gets to know each and every student and then very importantly connects with the students. So I apologize if you do not have those in the packet. They will be sent out to you first thing in the morning, but know that I'm very pleased with them.
All right. Any comments or questions? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, Bill. We will move on to new business. And first up for new business is our state assessment results. Wow, this is fancy.
Isn't it fancy? I like this.
So one of the first jobs that Bill had asked me to do was to put together an assessment. So can you hear me okay? So what I did was, sorry.
Is that better?
Justin, my
Yeah.
screen's black. I don't know if that's okay.
Amy, press
We can hear you.
Press there. It has to maintain green.
How about now?
We can, yep,
it-
that's
is it
one
on?
thing. But the other thing is we have these, for the public, we have these fancy new monitors, which are awesome. And they put what should be up on the screens right in front of us, which is awesome. We just have a momentary technical glitch while Lori's is not working. Yeah, mine's working too, and it's amazing. So thank you to the
Justin.
Merrimack TV, Nick and Justin and company
It's okay.
who put
watch
these
the
here
old
because
fashioned way.
this is life changing.
I'll just move.
Okay.
Oh, you can come over here, Lori. You can still sit and build.
Go ahead.
Sure. All right. So what I've tried to put together for you to look at tonight is our New Hampshire SAS data, and that is students in grades 3 through 8. And I also have some information about our SAT scores. So as you go through, I just tried to provide a short overview of what state assessments we give. Students in grades 3 through 8 take ELA and math, and students in grades 5, 8, and 11 also take the New Hampshire SAS science test. So the ELA and math and science, the ELA and math tests are aligned to the Common Core, and the New Hampshire SAS is aligned to the Next Gen Science Standards. And then for some of our students that are not able to take the New Hampshire SAS, there is something called the Dynamic Learning Maps. That is the alternative assessment that students with significant cognitive disabilities take. Their results are not included in the information that I have for you this evening. The New Hampshire statewide assessment is a comprehensive assessment. Again, it's given so that we can determine the current levels where students are in core academic areas. It's administered annually in the spring, but note that it was not given in the spring of 2020 due to COVID, and Governor Sununu gave us a pass that year. So what I tried to do in each of the grade levels was to break it down both by school. I think that was a request that came from the board, so that you can see each individual school building in grades 3 and 4, and then also how we compare to the state. So we have our overall district result as well as the state result. So the spreadsheets are organized consistently to show you the number of students that are in level 4. So that would be above proficiency. Level 3, which is at the proficient level, and then level 2, approaching proficiency, and then level 1, those are the students that would be below proficiency. So I broke it out by number as well as the percentage of the total. If you look at the bottom row in each of the spreadsheets, that will give you the overall state, the number of students, and the information there. So the pie charts that follow are really our overall district results, not individual school results. And as we go through, when I look at this kind of information, of course, we want students to be in the proficient range, which would be level 4 and level 3 combined. But we also take careful consideration to look at the students that are in the yellow area, which would be approaching proficiency, because those are the students that have some readiness or some potential to move into a level 3 score the next time around. So classroom teachers and at the building level, you can really drill down to the individual. Of course, you are familiar, you know that your student takes this. So you would get an individual score for the students as well. So we would really look at those students that are in level 2 to see what we can do to encourage their progress and hopefully move them into level 3. And then, of course, we want to make sure that the students that are in level 1, which would be the below proficiency, what are the kinds of things that we're doing for them. Just to note that grade 3 math, the state level average was 50.5%. So you can see at grade 3 math, we are a little bit above the state level. Similarly, you'll see the results for ELA, and the state average for that is 45.5. So we are about 10 points above proficiency when compared to the state in grade 3 reading and writing. Grade 4, each one of these, I'm certain you've had an opportunity to go through them, so I'll just give you a high-level review if that's okay. Grade 4 ELA, we've got compared to the state average of 48.1, and then our math compared to the state 47.8. Some concerns start to emerge, I think, in grade 5. The grade 5 math was a significant area of concern. If you look at the number of students that are proficient, we are at 28.7 proficiency, where the state is at 38.4. Certainly some work to do there. Our ELA scores, 55.7% of our students are proficient in grade 5, compared to the state level, which is at 54.3. And then that's the first time that our students will take the science exam. 29.2% of our students are proficient in science, and that's compared to 37.9% at the state level. Sixth grade, and we've got 46.5% proficient in math, compared to 39.3 at the state, and our ELA results 56.7%, above the state of 53.2. In your original packet, this is where I had made a revision since it was sent out to you. And I believe that Sandy sent that along in the packet. So this is slide 17. At the time that I provided this to you, there was an open question. When you looked at our data originally, there were some students that were assigned to JMUS as their school in grade 7, which we know isn't the case. And so I finally was able to reach the state with help from Jason Pelletier, our director of technology. He had a contact there, and we were able to work through, why were those students assigned to JMUS? And the person at the state said that it was really the result of an incomplete demographic file, which is pretty common this time of year, as students, as school districts are onboarding for the school year and making sure that their rosters, and ours would come from our student information system, Power School. It's just an issue where there's a gap right now where students are not officially certified in the system. So she said that will right itself. So I went ahead and took out the building results because our overall district results are accurate. She did say, just to assure all of you that the data is correct. It was just the, where those students were assigned was incorrect due to our demographic file. I hope that answers your question about that. Seventh grade math, 31.3% of students are proficient compared to the state at 37.5. And our ELA scores 47.8 proficiency compared to the state at 49.3. Grade 8 math, ELA, and science. Grade 8 math is another significant area of concern. We are below the state average by almost 10%. Grade 8 ELA, we are at 43.1 proficiency compared to the state at 45.9. And our science scores 20.6 proficiency compared to the state level of 32.8. And then the final results, grade 11 takes the New Hampshire Science Assessment, and I have their SAT scores in a few more slides. I also wanted to take some time. I know that there is a common practice here where we compare our results to some neighboring towns. So with Melissa's help, I was able to secure the ones that the board and that the district is most commonly concerned with. So you'll see where we compare to those local districts and also districts that are similar to ours. In this first spreadsheet, the district comparisons for math, we are ranked 10 out of these 14 local schools. Bedford, Windham, and Hollis Brookline are the top 3 for math. For reading, Merrimack is ranked 11th out of these 14 school districts. Bedford, Hollis, Brookline, and Windham are the top 3. And then for science, Merrimack is ranked 10th out of these 14 school districts, with Bedford, Hollis, Brookline, Amherst, and Goffstown in the top 3. Bedford and Hollis Brookline tied, Amherst and Goffstown also tied. The information that I pulled for the SAT scores is from the New Hampshire School Day SAT. So not students that would take it on a Saturday or students that would repeatedly take it for college entrance or any other reason. These would be the scores that are generated from the spring day where all 11th graders take the SAT. It is the same test that the College Board gives on those other days. It's just the one that's given to all 11th graders. It's still scored on a 400 to 16-point scale. Each section, math and reading and writing, is scored independently. So you'll see our scores on slide 29. You'll see that our overall school score is at a 988, which is also our district score. We only have Merrimack High School, compared to the state, which is at 1006. And then you can also see the breakdown of our English reading writing score at 499 compared to the state at 512. It is above the total group for the SAT norm sample. And then our math score is at 489 compared to the state at 493. So as I mentioned in my earlier report, if there are some things that once you have time to digest all of this information, there's a lot happening. As I was thinking about presenting tonight, I was trying to anticipate some of the things that you're thinking about, and I just thought I might offer three quick things. Is that, what are we going to do about the scores? I assume that's something that you might be interested in. And so I think the first is something that is already in motion, which is really looking to update and revise and align our curriculum. And that work is happening. I'm hoping to have a more cohesive timeline for you and for the community so that we can see when that will be completed. At least, your curriculum is really an organic document that changes as needed, but you would want to have at least your core standards aligned to the Common Core. So hopefully, that would be the first order of business. The second would be for me to really understand what the culture is around using data here. I'm not sure that this is something that is used. As Matt mentioned earlier, Adam Goodman coming on board to be more of a presence related to Performance Plus and helping people access data, I think will be helpful. I know that at each grade level and every building, people use data, but I'm just wondering how that's used and how we're using it to make decisions about our instruction. And then the last, I think, important place to start is really looking at the implementation of our programs. I do have some information about Envisions, the edition that we're using, having some questions and wondering about maybe the programs at the early elementary level related to literacy. And I've had some really great conversations with the language arts coordinators and the principals there. But I shared this with the leadership team, and each member of the team is certainly has a sense of urgency around what we do next. So if you have other questions, you can ask them now or forward them to me, and I'm happy to answer them at a future meeting. Thank you.
All right. Any comments or questions?
I'm curious, and I could have gone back through enrollment data and figured out the math, but I didn't. What percentage of kids, like I know, because I know some of my friends' some of the parents of my friends' children opt their kids out of the SAS testing. So what percentage of kids did we have actually taking the test?
If you look at slides 25, 26, and 27, the far column is our participation rate. And so
Thank you.
I don't have the specific number, but you'll see, our participation rate. And that could also be the parents that opt out, as well as the students that I spoke of on the first slide where they take the ALT assessment or the dynamic map.
So I'm going to say a lot, so here I go. So first of all, I think that these statewide assessments results are very important data points, and they give our school district a hard look on where students are comparing in state and national averages. And we want all of our students to fall in above or proficient areas. And that's why it's really important for as many students as possible to take the test, and as many teachers and parents work together to make sure the test conditions are the best, that kids get enough sleep, that we talk to them about the importance of the test. As discussed in our goals meeting this summer, we are going to work to not have 3 different reading programs at each of our elementary schools. It's really urgent to find a reading program that's the best program. And, through research, there's programs out there that are used nationally that Merrimack's using, some of these programs are not scientifically based, and they have the lowest ratings from the Teacher College reading and writing projects. So the Ed Reports, which started in 2015, uses classroom teachers to rate materials. And some of these programs have not received high ratings. So I think there's some value in transitioning right away to try to find a common reading program for all 3 elementary schools based on scientific knowledge, based on what's going to be the best program for this district. We want our teachers to feel empowered, and we value the importance of their responsive teaching. But we also must give our teacher the literacy programs that are evidence and based, so it'll improve instruction and improve learning. Because when we look at these test scores, we have to say, the kids in Merrimack are smart kids. All kids can learn at high levels. So we shouldn't have the percentage of kids that are below proficiency. So we have to say what's going on. And I think curriculum is a big piece of that. And I know everybody at this table is new to this table. So this is our base point. This is our starting point. So I'm not like pointing any fingers at anyone. I'm just saying a few things. So again, in areas that were in level 1 or level 2, I really feel those are some red zone areas. Math scores are very concerning in the 5th grade. Again, our questions are, if all kids can learn at high levels, what are we going to do with the high achievers? Because there are those students that are in the L1s that are doing great. So we need to push them further. And then our kids in the lower, it's urgent for us to get interventions, and nothing's going to change if we don't get those interventions and we take those 49 students and we do something to increase those skills before they get to the next grade. I think I like that you have data teams. I think data teams at every single school looking for a deep data dive so we understand what's really happening. Is it a curriculum? Is it prepping for the test? Is it the importance for a test? I remember when I was a high school principal packing up Christmas trees that the kids designed we had to say to the kids, when you make a Christmas tree, you heard our school and you heard our results. It's really important to do a good job on these tests. So we need an objective, measurable conclusion. This is a baseline for improvement. We want to support all student learners. We want to be proficient in all areas. And so I think our school district is we're doing good work, and I think we're on the right road. We need to continue to make this school year valuable, focused, where students gain the critical needs they need to be prepared for the future in the next grade.
Thank you. I appreciate your remarks very much. Thank you.
I want to echo what Lori said. I think, she makes some really great points, especially about our reading programs being all over the map in our districts and in our elementary schools. That's definitely been something that I think many of us haven't really understood for a long time, parents and sort of us as a board alike. So I'm glad that looks like it's on the right track of being remedied, and we're kind of aligning everybody, and we're looking more towards programs that have the science of reading as their basis, which I like as well. All of what Lori says really underlines the need for those multi-tiered supports. We talk about that often with social emotional learning, but it needs to happen with academics as well. There needs to be multi-tiered supports for academics. How are we coming alongside the kid who is below proficiency but is not a special ed student, maybe doesn't even qualify for Title I, right? Those are the kinds of things that we need to make sure we're trying to find ways to look at. I know in places like Hudson, we have math interventionists. Well, those math interventionists, those kids aren't Title I kids. They don't qualify for Title I. They're at risk, but they're getting daily and weekly math practice from these interventionists, which is a position that the district created to provide support at that, tier 1, tier 2, tier 2 level. And, the other thing that, and I keep saying this, and I know you and I have talked about this, is something like, I'm saying this program, not because I think we should get this program, but because something like this program, something like iReady, a diagnostic that then goes ahead and targets at the individual level each kid's. In the district that I'm in, the results have been incredible because the students are getting practice right where they're at, and, is it going to solve all the world's problems? No, but it's been really great. So some diagnostic tool that has the remediation in there that kids can be doing on a weekly basis, especially one that allows them to do it at home, because those parents that have kids that are at that below in the yellow or the red, those parents might go, oh, wow, like we got to do some work here too at home. And those like iReady can be done at home. Like the kids can be, there can be reward systems where if you do X number of lessons, you get a reward. And it's been really effective where I'm at. And just, again, it doesn't have to be that program, but there's many of those out there. And it's a tool that I think our district could use to address at the individual level because let's face it, education is about every single child improving, right? The scores are about these groups of children, but what every kid needs is to become better than they were at the beginning of every school year, move further in their math skills, move further in their reading skills. And having these tests that obviously you can look down at the individual level, but also something that targets each student and remediates them where they're at, the skills that they're lacking, is something that's huge too. So I'm just going to throw out again that I'd love for us to look at adopting something along those lines that could maybe help with these areas, because there are some really weak areas there that we have got to address, right? So but I appreciate all the hard work you're doing. I think your observations there were spot on about understanding culture of using data and aligning our curriculum. So we're really excited about that you're here and that you're willing to work hard on seeing all of this improve.
I appreciate that. I do want to circle back. We do have, I believe, in place, and I have not been here for a school year, but in talking with the principals, we do have a multi-tiered approach at each of the elementary schools, as well as the upper L and the middle school, high school, to provide intervention to students. I don't know the entrance and exit criteria. To your point, what are we doing for those students that are in level 1, level 2, if they don't qualify for Title I? But we have had some, extensive conversations this summer about what are the things, what is a tier 1 program that we're using? Are we using it with fidelity? What's a tier 2 program, tier 3? And certainly when budget season comes around, some of the things that we're looking at, those resources cost money. So to implement a reading program in the elementary schools, whether it is, whatever we decide on, often they have, costs up front that come with implementation. So I just want to say I can work, with Matt to bring those to you for your consideration, as well as something like iReady or any of these other programs. Their cost per student amounts. And your comment earlier about personnel, I do think that we are very well resourced for language arts. We have language arts coordinators at the elementary level, as well as the upper elementary and the middle school. But we don't have a similar position for math, and that our data at least indicates to me that might be an area for us to look at in terms of having a math specialist to be able to look at intervention and to really look at how we have math facilitators. I think that's the right name, Matt. Is it called the math facilitator? But they're classroom teachers that are teaching during the day, and so they take those roles on in addition. And as I get settled into my position, I'll be able to have a better understanding of what they do, but it's certainly not their full-time job. It is an add-on to being a classroom teacher, and I was a classroom teacher for 20 years, and the add-ons happen outside of the school day. So just as we prepare for the budget, I'll be sure to, bring some of these to your attention and for your consideration.
Thank you so much. Any other comments or questions?
I'm just going to echo what you two said. I don't have anything specific to add, but I wanted the public to know that I'm in complete agreement that I think this is a good place to start to look at. We're going to build from here. Everybody's goal is to improve outcomes for our kids. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. We are moving on to the next item in our agenda, which is student handbooks with Mr. Olson.
Well, I was hoping to have our handbooks in a finished state for you this evening, but we discovered late last week that there are some additional edits that we need to make, and we want to make sure they are complete and they're accurate for presentation, so that we will have them to you, I anticipate, by the end of this week. We will send them to you electronically. We will post them online for parents also, with some hard copies available. The administrators have spent a considerable amount of time making additional edits and revisions as suggested by legal counsel, who reviewed each handbook to make sure that they complied with state and federal statutes and local policies. And so even though you don't have a physical copy in front of you, you will have one by the end of the week. So I apologize for that, but I think you'll like the product. It's been a long time since student handbooks have been updated. We took the time and put the effort into it this year, this spring and this summer. And from this point on, I say encouragingly that we only have to make some small incremental changes each year instead of large scale revisions that were necessary for this revision of the handbook. So you'll have them by the end of the week. Jenna, if I could just make one final comment about Amy's presentation.
Certainly, yes.
I've observed Amy having unending meetings with people, with our administrators, with our coordinators, with our staff, talking about these results and talking about data and talking about the next steps that we're going to take to improve the scores, because they need to improve. And we have talked about the fact that we will look at, as some of you have indicated, we'll look at the curriculum that we're using. We'll look at instructional practice. We'll look at professional development, and we'll look at the programs that we purchase. We will look at every component that is involved in student learning and the acquisition of knowledge, and we will look deeply at each one of them, particularly the data and the analysis, not only the analysis, but the use and application of data in terms of our directions. So I have to thank Amy for the extraordinary amount of work that she has done in the brief amount of time that she's been with us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Olson. And as going back to the handbook now for a second, as a parent, just thank you very much for updating the handbook. Much that really needed to be done, and I'm very grateful it's finally been done.
Jenna?
Yes, comment.
And I just also want to say, I think the student handbook is an important tool for all students to understand our mission and student schedules and discipline codes. And it's just more evidence of this administration meeting our expectations. We didn't have those books for I don't know how many years or why, but now the student handbook is back, and the team put a lot of time into developing them, and we are grateful for having that expectation and you meeting it.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Any other comments or
Yes,
questions?
thank you. The handbook represents the rules of the road, and we want to make sure everyone knows the rules of the road for the respective grade level.
Absolutely. All right. No other questions there. So we're moving on to a next item under new business, which is the leadership retreat.
I put in the agenda packet the agenda that we had for our leadership retreat that was held on August 3rd and August 4th. We had an extensive presentation by Dr. John Buria on strengthening a culture of leadership and learning. One of the messages that was interwoven in Dr. Buria's presentation is that leadership really involves the art of balancing psychological safety and accountability. And how do you have and accomplish those two things that are extraordinarily important? We are working on creating and enhancing a professional approach to resolving all issues, to looking at all of the issues that we have to address in the school system with a kind, a caring, respectful, a trusting, collaborative, and supportive approach. And that's what we're going to keep working on. That is one of your main goals in terms of the goal setting that we engaged in earlier in the summer. That was a very, very worthwhile exercise for all of us in terms of setting our course and direction over the next several years. Dr. Buria was extraordinarily well received by the leadership team, and they have asked that he come back a number of times this year to work with us, either collectively or individually, and we will do that. He is very reasonable, and he is one of the most knowledgeable people that I have ever met in the field of education. He's well published, he's nationally recognized, and he is extraordinarily engaging. The team really liked his presentation style. So we will continue to engage him in our school district. We also had the leadership team read the book Reculturing by Melissa Daimler. Each group, we had different groups that took a chapter, and we each reported out on the various content of the various chapters that we read, and it was very beneficial, and a lot of commonality between what was in that book and what Dr. Dioria talked with us about in terms of building a strong culture, whether we're looking at the private sector or the public sector, and in this case, particularly the school district in the public sector. So, I've always been for many, many years of the feeling that everything good or not so good begins with the culture that the leadership creates in an organization. And each one of us, I consider to be a leader, each and every person in the school district. I'm not just talking about the superintendent or the central office. Everyone is a leader in this district, and everyone plays a role in developing that strong, trusting, respectful, collaborative, supportive culture. And so that's what we're going to look to continue to create. Everyone's opinion is valued and respected. We worked on creating some norms also as a result of the talk on the discussion on culture. So I think it was an excellent 2 days. I think the leadership team feels the same way. We planned it carefully. We wanted to align it with at least one of the goals that you identified, along with the administration, and we did that. And so it was a good way to start the new school year, and we're all encouraged and optimistic. So I'll be glad to answer any of your questions.
All right, questions or comments?
I just have a comment, which is I'm really glad to see you jumping in with the goals we set back in June. That's really exciting to see, and I'm really pleased that we're starting to make progress on them already.
And I was just going to say the exact same thing. Shaping our culture was one of our main focuses, and I was really also very pleased that you shared all the work that you did in that leadership with us. And leaders can shape the culture, and it's about mutual learning. And then, of course, I just want to say my favorite slide was 19, the math one that says, children don't hate math. What they hate is being confused, intimidated, and embarrassed by math. And that's it. That's about learning. They don't hate it. We just have to make sure that we connect with them. And I think that says so much about education. It just really stood out to me. So I really value the work that you did, and the team building and the trust, and giving everyone has a focus and everyone has a voice. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to add that I want to echo what they said, and what Lori said, I wrote it down, Lori, because it's so spot on. This administration continues to provide evidence of meeting our expectations. And we have said, various things that we'd like to see done. And you guys just don't go, yeah, that's great, and do nothing. Like, we see the fruits of you hearing that and taking action. And I think that just proves that even the culture between the administration and the board is really healthy, and we're able to have good dialogue, and it's really exciting. I loved too that you gave us so much content from what you talked about, and I was really interested in the balancing psychological safety with accountability, because that's so important, right? We have to hold people accountable, but accountability can be so uncomfortable, not only for the person giving the feedback, but for the person that's getting it. And so to know that our leaders are acknowledging the fact that, accountability and feedback are important, but that it's an uncomfortable thing for everyone. If we can find a way to really hit that, manage that tension really well, boy, we're going to be heads and tails above every place else because it's such an important thing. So I love that that's something you guys talked about. And I love that I got to see what you talked about. So thank you very much for all of that and your time that you put into that and all of that. So thank you so much.
May I just say, Jenna, that the importance now is to actually put this into action. We had a great 2-day session, but as we all recognize, it can't end there. This is not a one and done. This is something that we have to live and breathe every single day and practice, and that is creating a strong culture in our school system that allows us to connect with each other, with our students, and with our families. And hopefully you'll see the results as we proceed through the year.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you all for your hard work along those lines. If there's no other questions or comments, we will move on to our next agenda item, which is Matt Chevenel giving us summer project updates.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Well, people often ask me, so, Matt, do you work in the summertime? And I look at them and go, oh, yeah, that's the busy time of year. So between myself, Tom Tussaud, all the maintenance people, all the vendors that we had, the civil engineers, Steve Keach, the parent volunteers, Kim and Rachel at Thornton's Ferry. I mean, everybody's been working exceedingly hard this summer. We've got the concession stand, which is painted. We're looking at different graphics that are going to be going on it. There's going to be kind of a little bit of a buffet of graphics that we want to put on. We're going to pick what we like. We want to integrate. We want to include every single team or organization who is going to be using that concession stand, meaning cheerleaders, the band, everyone, track and field. It is not the football concession stand. Belongs to all of us, belongs to the Merrimack School District. So I had some rather wonderful conversations with Dr. Wolf and Sean Powers from RTM and Jennifer DeFelice, who was involved in the process also. And that's coming along really nicely. It's going to be done pretty soon. You probably don't remember this, but a while ago we had a warrant article for the windows at Merrimack High School. That was a long time ago. And we had supply chain issues. We had COVID. We had everything like that. We couldn't get anybody to put them in. Couldn't get anybody to make the aluminum that made the windows, and couldn't make the glass even. You know, it's like ridiculous. It's done now. So hooray for us for finally getting the windows done. Awesome project. The Thornton's Ferry Playground, I think there's a little bit of curbing to be done. A little bit more mulch should be spread. I keep getting emails. We need more mulch. We need more mulch. So we give them more mulch, and that is going to be absolutely stupendous. I can't wait to take some pictures of the playground once that is finished. That has been an effort where a lot of hands were involved and a lot of people working together in cooperation. The last step is I want to have Monica Panay from New Hampshire Primex come visit the playground. That's New Hampshire Primex is our risk management organization. They inspect playgrounds. We don't really need this playground inspected because it's been built according to all the certifications. But Monica is like the playground expert, so she wants to come in, take a look at it, and make sure we have everything just perfect. So that's really good. We had a little project at Reed's Ferry Elementary School. One of the southern courtyards was not draining at all. In fact, when it rained, it became kind of a swimming pool. So it was kind of a little bit of a mystery to figure out what was going on there. But we found out that there was an actual drain that went to a pipe that went under the building, that wrapped around the side of the building, that was covered. So the water couldn't go anywhere. So we finally found the pipe with the help of CSSI, and we did some drainage work inside the courtyard. So instead of having the roof drains drain into the courtyard, 7 roof drains that collect around 35,000 square feet of roof into the courtyard, not a good situation, especially when you have a clay base and everything kind of collects there like a bathtub. So we've put some work into that. We've gotten that done. That's completed. Another thing, From a financial standpoint, we've completed our audit. Last year, we gave back to reduce taxes $8.163 million, $8,163,000. You recall that this year we had a warrant article that took $950,000 from surplus to fund Part 3A or whatever it was of the teacher contract. In doing so, it was kind of my goal to see if I could hit the mark as close as possible. I was $10,000 off. I know. But what we have right now to reduce the tax rate, and we now have the ability to retain surplus, but we can have a conversation about that later when tax rate setting time is. But seeing it's $8,173,000, that perhaps we would think about returning all of that to reduce taxes to keep things fairly level until we get to a different situation when, let's say, our state aid goes up by like $500,000 and we have a different sort of year end, so we can talk about that. But fund balance came out great. There's not going to be a spike in the tax rate because the fund balance went down considerably, and we were still able to fund the teacher contract from that and keep everything pretty much level. So I was really happy with that. It's tough to say, and keep a straight face. I'm happy with the audit. I'm happy with the auditors coming in, 6 CPAs. They all look like they're 19 years old. Amy and I were talking about that. They all got their little narrow neckties and everything like that. But they're all brilliant people, and they come in, they're asking me questions and everything. And it was a great audit. The people we have downstairs, Heather Wells, Sarah Raffel, Pearl Bratton, Sue Lohr's doing Fed Funds. I mean, they're all top-notch people, and they make this audit perfection every single year. So that is it for the summer projects.
All right, comments or questions?
I'm curious when that playground at Thornton's Ferry is going to be officially open. Is it going to be for the first day of school, or is it going to take a little longer?
No, it should be for the first day of school.
Awesome.
Because they're just, we should do like a ribbon cutting thing or something. I don't know. I'm sure somebody has something planned. They just haven't told me yet, but that's okay. I don't need to know.
Any other comments or questions? Well, I have a couple
Jenna,
things. Go ahead,
May
Bill.
I just say for 1 minute, one of the things I enjoy about working with Matt is that he takes great delight in working on important projects that improve the learning environment for students and for staff. And he and I have many conversations during the course of the year about capital improvements or extraordinary, what are referred to as extraordinary maintenance improvements. And he is extraordinarily enthusiastic about accomplishing them. And that's why our facilities are in such great shape. So thank you, Matt.
My first comment too was going to be, you have the right guy in the position of, assistant superintendent for business when he says it was a great audit. Wow, it sounds like you really enjoyed that. So I'm glad that you enjoyed that. And Bill, I would echo what you said. I've had the chance to work more closely with Matt on a couple different projects over the last year and talk to him about a couple different issues. And you really do a fantastic job, and I really appreciate all that you do for the Merrimack School District. It's been really awesome.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that. So many school districts have such turnover. So, Matt, how many years have you been with the Merrimack School District?
This will be 23.
23 years. So, that is really exceptional. And, this board has enjoyed immensely working with you, and you are just honest, transparent, and you're really good for our district. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to say one more thing. I live near Thornton's Ferry, and so we drive by it all the time. And my 9-year-old was so excited at the beginning of the summer. She's like, look, they're putting a second floor on my school. And I was like, no.
That's the
You're
rule.
getting a new roof. So maybe next year we can. Just kidding, everyone. No, we're not putting a second floor. And secondly, I love what you said about the concession stand being able to be used for everybody. We've had a conversation about that. That's fantastic. If you are a Booster Club president and you're listening to this, reach out to the Laura's World people. They would like help with fundraising. And if you can reach out to your group of influence, your Booster Club members, to help, because they're doing another round of selling the bricks.
Yes.
And it's really important that for all these groups that want to use it, it would be great if all the groups would get behind fundraising so that we can, what they're trying to do right now is outfit the inside of the concession stand so it's really usable and all of that. So if you are listening and you are in a Booster Club or you are part of the leadership of a Booster Club, reach out to the Laura's World people, Jennifer G. Felice, Dr. Wolf, is that his name? Reach out to them. They are looking to sort of advertise about this next round of fundraising, and Booster Clubs would be a great avenue for that to happen. So just an extra sort of highlight on that. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so we are moving on. Before we move on, I just want to say welcome to Ken Martin. He was excused, but he is so dedicated that he stopped by even though, he didn't technically have to. So thank you for being here.
I wanted to be here.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. Okay. Next is our first meeting in September.
So we're still looking to try to do a date because the Monday, the 5th is Labor Day. The 6th is not going to work for the school district, which gives us the 7th or the 8th. The 8th is a town council meeting. So we were just trying to make sure that the board members could come if we did it on the 7th. And if not, we would have to not be in this meeting room because the town council will be on the 8th. So we didn't want to make that date without knowing we would have a quorum. So
When we talked about it, though,
it's
can you?
TBA,
Yeah,
I guess it's
we're
as soon as
TBA
we know
until
for
we
sure.
know when
If Ken
everybody
can
can
go,
meet it.
then we'll be okay.
It all rests on Ken.
Okay,
We're good
so
to
you
go.
can- So we're
Yeah.
going to say September 7th. Is that okay? No, you couldn't do the 7th.
No, that was you sent me the link to that training thing that's on Wednesday nights, and
Okay.
that's the first one I
Oh,
signed
that's
up
the
for.
first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't make either night, but
But we might.
And we don't know about Lori,
Maybe they'll
actually.
pre-record it maybe. Because maybe maybe we should keep it because we're not going to get the room with town council here.
I think we still need to be TBA because Lori doesn't know her schedule due to a work thing.
Right.
So TBA. I think.
TBA.
Okay. TBA. Other new business.
So I just have a reminder, Jenna and I were talking about this earlier. We really want to give students at the high school opportunities to have extended learning opportunities and have extended learning opportunity credit. And we have a lot of students who would qualify during the summer work that they did for the Parks and Recs camps, our school board representative. There's so many opportunities for kids' work skills. So I just want to keep that on the radar. It's kind of old business, new business.
Yeah, old business, new business comments. Great. And I know our new assistant superintendent for curriculum, that's something you've talked about to me about and that you're pretty knowledgeable and excited about. So I know we're headed in the right direction there. So thank you. Okay. Number 7 on our agenda is policies, but I see none, so we can move on from policies. Am I right? Am I right? We don't have any policies. Okay, not tonight. Next is the approval of the minutes. We need to approve the July 25th, 2022 public minutes. So I will entertain a motion in regards to those minutes.
So moved, or I move to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I will second.
All right. Motion by Naomi and second by Ken. Does anybody have any edits that need to happen to the minutes? All right. So all in favor of passing the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 0, 0. All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
We don't have any resignations this evening, thank goodness, but we are bringing forward quite a few nominations, starting with Richard Loftus, who will be an in-school interventionist at Merrimack Middle School. Inez Durrani will be a science teacher, Merrimack High School. Carolyn Garrett, grade 2 teacher at James Mastrocola Elementary School. Michaela Eason, math teacher at Merrimack High School. Beth Haverkamp Powers, English teacher, Merrimack High School. Haley Smith will be a 1-year music teacher at Reed's Ferry. Kylie Roper, language arts teacher, Merrimack Middle School. Carl Sapko, social studies teacher, Merrimack High School. Cheryl Craig, a 1-year position of a digital learning specialist, shared between Reed's Ferry and James Mastrocola Elementary School. Melanie Smith will be serving student services as a speech and language pathologist. Rachel Allen, preschool teacher, James Mastrocola Elementary School. Dr. Katie Angeloni will be a grade 5 teacher, James Mastrocola Upper Elementary School. And Sarah Fagan, special education teacher at Merrimack Middle School.
Okay. So normally I don't have any questions about the consent agenda, but I do have a couple questions tonight. And I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Does anybody here know if I'm allowed to do that? Only because there's several names that you read that are not in my packet here. I don't know if that matters. Matt, do you know if that matters?
I believe that we had the ability to
Add them in.
add them in.
Okay, perfect.
If they are not, I can give you this full list.
not
We
concerned
were
about it, I just wanna
adding
make sure.
additions to be sure that we're closer to being fully staffed
Yeah.
by the school year starts. So the new names, my guess is starting with that your list ends with Carl Safko.
Cheryl Craig.
Oh, you have Cheryl Craig.
Yeah.
Okay. So Melanie Smith, Rachel Allen, Dr. Katie Angeloni, and Sarah Fagan, you do not have on
Okay.
your agenda.
Okay.
They-
I don't think that typically, I mean, I don't think that usually happens or that I can recall it happens. I just wanted to make sure there was no reason why that would be a concern.
No.
Okay. And can I ask one more question? I do have a list of resignations here. Do you?
Yeah, we had to.
Yes.
Yes, there was a list of resignations in the packet.
Should I read those if,
Let me take a look.
okay. There is one in the packet. What's confusing about it is it
Right
says,
here.
so while we expressed relief that there were no resignations,
Yes.
we take back that relief.
Yes, we
because
take
there
it
are
back.
some
There are actually some.
resignations.
I usually practice the names ahead of time, so if I get
You're
these
gonna be
wrong, these might be wrong. So we bring forward the following resignations this evening. Kimberly Chouinard, preschool teacher, Thornton's Ferry. Christina Lopez, guidance counselor, Merrimack Middle School. Athena Anger, technology education teacher, Merrimack Middle School. Michelle Shermeda, special education teacher, Merrimack High School. Kyle Morrell, social studies teacher, Merrimack Middle School. Stephanie Carberry, social studies teacher, Merrimack High School. Lindsay Seibert, social studies teacher, Merrimack High School. And Alexandra McCaffrey, grade 5 teacher at James Mastrocola Upper Elementary School. My apologies that those weren't in my packet.
No, that's okay. I'm glad I asked. Like, I just didn't want to. Okay, so that is the full consent agenda. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of passing the consent agenda as presented?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The motion passes the consent agenda passes 4-0-0. Thank you for that. Okay. Moving on to other committee reports.
I have a committee report. Last week, I went to the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. And they talked a lot. There was updates. Okay, yeah, so here we go. They talked a lot about their 5-year capital improvement proposal, which is improvements that they're putting into mostly to Wasserman Park, and they're trying to add some multi-use fields on Pearson Road. And this is stuff that they're looking for funding for like the next couple of years. And then just some dates that folks with kids might be interested in. There's one more movie night in the park coming up on September 3rd at Wasserman Park. They're going to show Sing 2. And there was one other one. Where did it go? Oh, they're doing kind of a soft opening on the gates on Watson Park down to the river. They're not advertising the fact, broadcasting that the gates are now unlocked, but the gates are now unlocked, and sort of on a trial basis. And if it becomes a problem like it was a couple of years ago, they're not going to hesitate in shutting them right back up. But folks might be interested in knowing that. As long as we play nice, we can have nice things. And that's all.
All right, thank you, Naomi. Any comments or questions? Any other committee reports? Okay, moving on then to correspondence.
I have one. It was actually a very nice correspondence from a prominent citizen who at 5:30 tonight just wanted to thank the board for their efforts. They really feel that the school district and the board is working really well together, and we're really making a lot of really positive changes, and the community is, according to this person, watching it and feels very excited about those changes.
Any other correspondence? I did have some correspondence from a parent that was concerned about the high school computer usage policy. I think some of us got that. I got one additionally that only came to me, and I think parents were expressing their concerns, but has since been resolved, and
Yeah.
we're all moving on.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of walk that back a little bit and use this year as an evaluation period. So it made sense to do it that way.
And I think there were a lot of
And we
a
appreciate
lot
the
of-
feedback.
and I think parents appreciated that you heard the feedback and decided to walk it back for now. So I think it was a win all the way around.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, comments.
I just have one. I just really want to thank Amy. I think she did a really great job with the data. And, we had to have some tough conversations around the state reporting, and she did it with a lot of graciousness. And she just didn't come here to give us the data. She also gave us some insights on solutions already, and I really do appreciate that.
Any other comments? All right, seeing none, we are going to move to public comment on agenda items. Now that we do have public members here, if you would like to make a comment, you come to the mic, which I guess would be at the table, state your name and address for the record. Students only need to state their name. They do not need to state their address. So we open the mic for public comment. Well, we thank the public for being here, but they do not seem to have any
Thank you very
comments.
much.
So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Naomi and seconded by
second.
Ken. All in favor? Aye. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.
Thank you very much, everyone.